ComBank Summit, Forward Together 2025, creating a sustainable future.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. After a very informative session in the morning and a good lunch and refreshment, I warmly welcome to this session on water security and smart management, part of ComBank's Sustainability Summit 2025, Forward Together. Let me begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to Commercial Bank PLC for this timely and visionary initiative. In an era where sustainability is not just a priority and a necessity, convening stakeholders from diverse sectors to address challenges and solutions is very commendable. Thank you for inviting us to be part of this very crucial and timely dialogue. It's both an honor and a privilege, and we stand here before you with responsibility. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the panel members. A very warm welcome to the three panelists, Professor Lalit Rajapaksa, the UNESCO Chair Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, University of Moratuwa, and Engineer Nilantha Dhanapala, who is the Director, Water Management Secretariat, Mahaweli Authority of Sri Lanka, and Engineer Anura Ranwala, the consultant hydrologist. And in fact, we need to apologize profusely for the missing keynote speaker, Dr. Matthew McCartney. He was supposed to be here, but he had to be with his family for some medical emergency, and he's unable to deliver the keynote speech. Without his absence, I'll try to fill his gap, but I'm not much prepared with slides and the visuals, but I will try to read out of a script to fill the gap, at least partially. Finally, I extend a warm welcome to all the participants, the attendees, the members of different stakeholder organizations who have joined us. And your engagement and interest in this subject affirm how vital water security and smart water management is, and how our shared sustainable future depend on water. To give you an introduction to the session, the theme of the session is water security and smart management. Ladies and gentlemen, before I'm going on to the notes that was sent to me by the keynote speaker, Dr. McCartney, I would like to set the stage by introducing certain important aspects related to the theme that we are going to cover today in this particular session. Water is the foundation of life, and yet securing its availability and equitable access is one of the most pressing challenges of time: accessibility, quality, and quantity of water. The term water security refers to more than just having enough water. What do you mean by enough water? Water security means ensuring that everyone has access to safe, reliable, and affordable water, not just having water around us. And also, we have to make sure that we do not compromise the functions of water connected with ecosystems. That is, the life support system that we have around us to sustain life on Earth. Today, water security is under growing pressure, notably from climate change, urbanization, I would say rapid urbanization, uncontrolled planning and growth, especially population growth, unsustainable land use, pollution, and in some regions, poor governance. For countries like Sri Lanka, we are both water rich, at the same time water vulnerable. I wouldn't say water scarce, but water vulnerable, because the issues that we face in connection of water is a bit complex. Let me share a few reasons why this discussion is important and timely. First, climate variability is becoming more and more unpredictable. Just in the last 5 years, we have seen alternating cycles of droughts and floods across Sri Lanka. Rivers like Kalani and Deduroya, flooding during heavy rains, even with a couple of hours of rain, the intensity is too high. And farmers in areas like Monaragala and Anuradhapura, they now face the flooding as a regular problem, which was not the case before. These are no longer rare events. They are part of the changing patterns that demand smarter, more adaptive water management strategies. Going away from climate variability, Sri Lanka's economic reliance in water is very closely tied with water. Agriculture, hydropower, drinking water supplies, and industries. They all depend on reliable water sources. The Mahavali water basin, the Mahavali river water basin, we will discuss that further in our discussion later, supports over at least half to 2/3 of the dry zone agriculture. The growing water competition between domestic users, farmers, and industry is pushing our traditional systems to their limits. Thirdly, our urban centers are expanding rapidly. Colombo, Gampaha, Kalutara, Kandy, they face growing demand for water while also generating significant volumes of wastewater. And also urban runoff that threaten the water sources, the water quality, in fact, and also very fragile ecosystems. Managing these challenges, meeting urban demand while preventing environmental degradation, at least to make sure that ecosystems are conserved, requires a shift from conventional to smart, integrated water management efforts. That brings us to the idea of smart management. Not moving away, but at least extending the traditional systems to make sure that we live in the present generation. This is not just about technology, it's about data-driven decisions, inclusive policies that doesn't need much technology, interagency coordination, and of course, nature-based solutions. The best example that I can give you is Singapore. They have transformed their water futures by investing in real-time monitoring, rainwater harvesting, wastewater reuse, and the engagement of all the stakeholders coming together to make sure their water sources are secure. Closer to home, the Ambatali water supply improvement project that we have, the Vevgam Pubudu irrigation rehabilitation schemes, they show how strong we are in our times when institutions come together. They are supported by clear visions and collaboration. The current Mahavali Water Security Investment Program, MWSIP, Engineer Dhanapal is representing that sector, is another. Where is water in the Sustainable Development Goal agenda? Where is water? water is deeply interlinked into each and every sustainable development goal. You can take out SDG 17, the institutions, but if you take that out, but even there you can have the institutions connected with water involved. The main sustainable development goals, number 6, clean water and sanitation, 13, climate action, 11, sustainable cities and communities, zero hunger, goal 2, and if you talk of gender equity, quality education, health and well-being, life on earth, life underwater, you name any SDG, water is embedded into the sustainable targets somewhere. Therefore, water is not just a sector, it's a connector. It links environment, health, energy, food, economic growth. That is why we have the National Policy on Water Supply and Sanitation. We have national adaptation plans. We have, if we have time, we will discuss about the national water policies that we have to keep all the institutions together. In this session, we aim to reflect on how we can better secure our water future through innovation, evidence-based policy, and cross-sectoral collaboration. We will hear from the 3 experts that we have here. They have worked across disciplines, the institutions, the academia, as well as the industry. Let us together imagine how Sri Lanka can lead in water security, not only as a response to the crisis, but as a strategy for inclusive, climate-resilient development. So introducing the theme, let us move to the Dr. Matthew McCartney has sent a brief note to be read out at the session, which I will do. Forging water security in a challenging climate, innovations, institutions, and inclusive pathways. Honorable guests, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a privilege to be here with you, even though he is not here, I'm representing him. Focused on one of the most pressing challenges of our time, water security. We are here today not only as professionals representing finance, engineering, policy, institutions, or science, but as stewards of a resource so vital that no economy, no ecosystem, no community can survive without it. Water is not just a commodity we can afford to take for granted. It is an enabler of life, livelihoods, and long-term development of a nation. The context, why water security? Why now? Let us begin with the hard truth. The global water crisis is no longer on the horizon. It is already here. Over 2 billion people lack access to safe drinking water, and over 4 billion experience severe water scarcity during at least 1 month of the year. Water demand is projected to increase by 55% by 2050, driven by urbanization, agriculture, and industrialization. Climate change only compounds this stress, bringing more floods in some places, more droughts in others, and great uncertainty everywhere. In Sri Lanka, we feel this acutely. Seasonal water shortages, declining groundwater in the dry zone, recurrent floods in urban areas, salinity intrusion in coastal aquifers, and growing competition among most of these sectors, from agriculture to tourism. They have made water a strategic, even a political resource. So the question is no longer if we act but how and how fast? One solution would be to adopt smart technologies to make sure we use water efficiently and distribute it equitably, and the scale of use does not hinder the ecosystem functions to happen. Let us begin with technology. Perhaps the most visible dimension of modern water security. We are witnessing remarkable achievements. AI-powered forecasting models that predicts floods and droughts weeks in advance. Remote sensors and IoT-based water meters that detects leakages and optimize usage. GIS-integrated dashboards for catchment level decision making. And of course, precision irrigation systems that would reduce water use at least by half, 40 to 50%. These tools are transforming the way we manage water. We must ask, who benefits from these innovations? Are they reaching the marginal farmer in remote areas, in rural areas? Does this provide any solution to rural communities? For example, schools in rural communities, the state sector, and so on. The small water utility, whether they are budget constrained. So these questions, we need to discuss the technology with an idea of inclusivity. It must be adaptable to low resources context and supported by local capacity building. We cannot rely on high-tech, high-cost devices. A brilliant AI model is of little use if local institutions do not know how to calibrate it and maintain it. Therefore, public-private partnerships, open data initiatives, and affordable access programs are essential. We need to avoid technological elitism in the name of progress. Every community, regardless of the location or income level, deserves access to tools that protect their water future. Number two, policy and institutional leadership, creating the enabling environment. The cornerstone of water security is indeed good governance. Let me be clear. Technical fixes alone will not solve our water challenges. Without the right policies, institutions, enforcement mechanisms, even the best innovations, our efforts will fail. They will fail to deliver the long-term impact. However, on the brighter side, Sri Lanka has made commendable efforts. We have the National Water Resources Policy, the Integrated River Basin Management Initiatives, and we have positive efforts to improve interministerial coordination, especially between irrigation, agriculture, and disaster management. We can look for a brighter future. But significant gaps remain. Fragmented mandates across government bodies. How many government institutions are there to look after water? Weak regulatory enforcement, which goes beyond the boundaries of these institutions. Urban planning and water pollution control lacks a solid regulatory framework which we can monitor effectively implemented, and limited stakeholder participation in the decision making. Water governance must shift from siloed sectoral control to cross-sectoral collaboration. That means aligning water policy with energy security, climate adaptation plans, urban resilience strategies, and institutional frameworks. And also we need decentralized and adaptive institutions, ones that are flexible enough to deal with climate uncertainty and inclusive enough to involve local communities in planning and monitoring. Third, the private sector, the stewardship and accountability. We are seeing positive examples. Multinational companies are investing in closed-loop water systems. Agri-industries, they are using weather-linked irrigation scheduling. Financial institutions are coming forward and they also mandate water risk assessments into their credit decisions. To change this, to change the status quo, we must introduce mandatory water disclosures, provide tax incentives or rebates for sustainable water management. We need to promote corporate community water partnerships, where industries invest in catchment restoration, rainwater harvesting, communal wastewater treatment systems as well. And then academia and research. They have a big role to play. No water strategy can succeed without scientific research and evidence-based planning. We must do more. The academia has to do more to bridge the gap. Lastly, financing water resilience, the role of banks and capital markets. Water projects are often delayed and underfunded, not due to lack of ideas, but due to lack of access to capital, especially for small utilities or rural communities. The financial sector must evolve to treat water not just as an operational input, but as a core component of risk and resilience. Opportunities include green bonds, blended finance, insurance schemes, and of course microcredit programs. We can touch upon these aspects during the panel discussion. And closing reflections, ladies and gentlemen, there's a short message, a simple message. We are no longer in an era where water challenges can be solved in isolation. We need whole of society, whole of system, forward-thinking approaches. That means planners talking to engineers, scientists talking to communities, banks talking to farmers, governments listening to all the other stakeholders. Together we can build. Together we can build a future where every drop counts, where every voice matters, and where every institution contributes to a more water secure, climate resilience, and equitable world. Thank you. So I remain there, and I will hand over the floor back to the Master of Ceremonies.